Yo, what is happening, guys? It is Invention here, and Venom Let There Be Carnage is finally here. After all the delays, after all the waiting, we are finally here at Venom Let There Be Carnage, and today I'm coming at you with my review for the movie. There will be no spoilers in this video, so you don't have to worry about that, but I'm gonna dive into what I thought about the movie, all the little aspects of it, and yeah, don't worry, I won't spoil a single thing for you, so feel free to stick around and watch the whole thing. But without further ado, let's jump right into it. So my overall thoughts on the movie, I thought the movie was, it was decent. It was pretty good. The movie was short, but that meant it had really good pacing. It was really paced really well. It was a fast-paced, kind of action-packed movie, and I guess that's what they really wanted for the movie, was to be non-stop action. Now, the action, there wasn't actually like that much action, but the story did have a fast pace to it, had a good flow, and I felt like it was paced really well. The characters are really good, with Carnage definitely being my highlight for the movie. Some characters were a little weaker, but I do think that Carnage was incredible, and he definitely stood out. Woody Harrelson did an amazing job, and you can just tell he was having so much fun with the role. And just really went off the rails with Cletus Cassidy, which I think was amazing. And that's the thing, it was definitely more of a Cletus Cassidy story than a Carnage story. And I feel like it does a really good job setting up Carnage and building him up, so when you get to the end of this movie you have Carnage there in his full form, but because you build up Cletus Cassidy, it makes it so much more impactful. And I felt like the story was decent, it did what it was supposed to do, and it brought the two villains together, brought Venom and Carnage together for this ultimate showdown, which I think it did really well. It's kind of like that Godzilla versus Kong kind of matchup, where it's like these two Goliaths colliding, and then the whole movie kind of builds to that big battle, and that's kind of what I felt like this movie was too. It was like this big build up. It's like these two gladiators coming together, and I think the story did what it was supposed to do and did a good job at that. Alright, so let's focus in on the positives for the movie. I felt like Carnage definitely lived up to the hype. He was an amazing villain. I've personally been waiting for Carnage all the way back since all those fake Spider-Man 4 trailers. If you guys know what I'm talking about, you're the OGs here. I've been looking forward to Carnage for so many years. I actually have Carnage's first appearance comic, and I got it signed by Stan Lee and his last appearance in Canada. So I feel like a really close connection to Carnage. I love the character, and I feel like this film did him justice. I would love to see more of him, but we're gonna have to wait and see about that. Woody Harrelson was in a phenomenal casting, and I feel like Cletus Cassidy as a character is such an amazing character. He's literally just a psychopath, and that's Carnage. Carnage is one of those villains that's just he doesn't have a crazy backstory that built to him being this lunatic. There is obviously some in the source material in the comics, but Carnage is overall just a psychopath. He's just a maniac. He's just a bad dude, and I love that. I feel like this film really greatly portrayed Carnage in that way, and that he's just literally a crazy man who just literally wants carnage. On a positive side, I feel like the movie really leaned into what worked in the last film, like that Eddie Venom relationship that a lot of people liked. It fully sends into that relationship and that bond, and it's something that some people might not like. It's something that I feel like I really from as much of an artistic style as you'll get for this movie, I feel like that was awesome that they really leaned into that bromance relationship, and they saw what they wanted to do with this movie and they fully invested itself into that, which I think is amazing. It didn't tease or try and go in one direction and change directions. It fully said this is what we want for this character, this is how we're going to treat this character, this is how the scenes are going to go, and I feel like it was awesome in that. The comedy was really funny. The banter between Venom and Eddie was great again, but this time I feel like it's improved upon because they were able to focus in on it more. And yeah, it's just really solid stuff there. And the action, there wasn't that much of it, but it was really awesome when it was there. It was some pretty awesome action, and it was a great showcase of both the characters. I felt like Carnage really, as the trailer said, he's a red one, and you can really understand what that means when you get to the movie and you realize, wow, Carnage is crazy. He's an awesome villain. He has so much in his arsenal. It's really unique, and it's really exciting. I really love what they did with the action here in this movie. Definitely a step up from the first movie, because I wasn't the biggest fan of the first movie's action, but I think Andy Serkis, having him on board, was definitely something that really helped improve the action. Andy Serkis, as we probably all know, has a lot of history in motion capture. His work on Planet of the Apes is some of my favorite stuff I've ever seen, personally. I'm a huge fan of the Planet of the Apes trilogy, the new one, that is. And I felt like Andy Serkis, not only just in the Venom Carnage stuff, but overall, did a really good job of adding his own taste and his feel to this movie, while also keeping it as a Venom and Carnage movie. I feel like he did an amazing job with what he had, and really took what was there and turned it into the best it could be. He kind of pushed the edge on what can be done in a PG-13 movie, which is something you kind of need to do with Venom and Carnage, and he really tackled the characters really well. For a movie that was just about Venom and Carnage, 90 minutes long, two monsters fighting each other, I feel like the movie did great with what it was seeking to do. I feel like it was a fun time. I had a lot of fun with this movie, and that's a good thing about it. And that's one thing. A lot of people tend to kind of look at every movie like it's an artistic, stylistic film, but actually, like, a lot of people go to the movies just to have fun. And I feel like this year we really like realized how important it is to be able to go to a movie and have a lot of fun with it. And I feel like this movie definitely helped with that. And it's something that we miss. You know, we're getting back into the spin of things with Godzilla and Suicide Squad. We're getting back into what it's like to go to the movies just to have a fun experience again. And I feel like people aren't taking that for granted anymore. And I think this was a great film to kind of lean into that. I feel like it came out at the perfect time. And of course, I'm not going to spoil it, but that post-credit scene was awesome. I'm sure you guys have heard all about it. There's not much more I can really say, but I'll dive into it probably tomorrow and we'll unpack that and talk about what it means. But man, I'm super excited for what comes next. It was an awesome post-credit scene. All right, now on to the negatives. It is inevitable. I personally didn't like Shriek. I felt like Shriek wasn't a very strong character in this movie. I feel like if we had more time, if it wasn't such a short film, we might have been able to like see her growth and see her character kind of develop more. But in what we got, I wasn't the biggest fan, and I understand other people might be bigger fans, but personally didn't work for me. But this is also like not her movie. This is Carnage's movie, so that's why, and she obviously is to be there to support Carnage, but personally, Shriek wasn't my favorite character in this movie. I also found that this interpretation of Venom, as much as I love that they're really diving into what works for this version, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I don't fully grasp onto it. It doesn't fully work for me, but that's just me. That's like a personal thing. I feel like Venom is just, I guess that's what happens when you take away Peter Parker from Venom's story. You have to really change up the character a lot, but I just find that this interpretation of Venom, it's not, something about it just doesn't land. Maybe it's just too goofy for me. Maybe he's just too heroic when he's meant to be a monster. Like, he's literally a monster that goes around biting people's heads off. Well, that's just a little gripe from my end. I also feel like the film definitely was too short, and I'd love to see like a director's cut or something where you have more time to flesh out the characters and the story and the world. I know they wanted it to be like an action-packed roller coaster, kind of fast-paced, speed through the hour and a half, but I just feel like there's so much more you could have done, especially with Carnage. He's such like a complex, layered, rich character you could totally just like mess around with for so long. You can totally make a 2.5 hour film with him, and I'm just kind of sad that we didn't get that opportunity, and who knows if we will. Yeah, I just feel like characters could have benefited from having more time, more character development, more arcs, and because the film was so short, it kind of just had to rush from one point to the next, to the next, to the next, that we didn't take time to pause on a character, pause on an emotion, and really sink our teeth into this world and everything that's going on in these characters and seeing them grow and change. And I feel like there's so much more we could have gotten out of it. And I didn't feel like there was that much action. For a fast-paced, action-packed movie, I was expecting more, and it takes so long. You gotta build up Carnage, get to the point, build up this showdown, and I feel like there's not enough getting there. Getting to that point is kind of, at times, it's a little dry. And I feel like for a movie that markets itself around as these two guys going at it, I wish there was more to it. I wish there was more in the middle, more to kind of build up Venom, as like, see where he's grown, how has he changed, what new things has he learned since the last time we've seen him, how has his bond with Eddie gotten stronger, and how does that benefit them in a fighting capacity. I just feel like there's more they could have gone with there. The next thing is, I feel like the score wasn't as good as the first one. I think Ludwig Göransson, I hope I said that right, was a phenomenal composer for the first movie. Like, obviously it wasn't some breathtaking soundtracks, but it was a really good theme that he crafted for Venom, and I feel like if he came back and was able to work on Carnage, he would have been able to create something really special. But they got a new composer for this film, and I think Marco Beltrami, once again, hope I'm saying that correct, is a great composer. What he did with Logan was incredible. So when I heard he was going to be scoring this film, I was super excited, because I thought we'd get some great material like we did with Logan, but I just felt like it was trying too hard to be something that it isn't. I just feel like when you have scenes with Carnage tearing things up, I feel like the soundtrack didn't really match Carnage's dark, gritty character. It was more loud and too clean, if that makes sense, like too clear of the instruments, and I just felt like there wasn't enough like grittiness to the theme. And I guess the Venom and Carnage movie, I feel like there could have been more grit to like all of that. And just a little thing, I'm worried that this film's gonna be overshadowed by the post-credit scene, because the post-credit scene is like really big and really awesome, and everyone's talking about it. But a worry is that this film overall is just going to be overshadowed by that, and that's how this film's going to be remembered, is by the post-credit scene. Now, I hope that doesn't happen, but it's a possibility, and it's something that seems likely because that's what everyone's talking about. Is this post-credit scene? Is post-credit scene so awesome? And I hope that doesn't change how people feel about the movie overall, or change how people feel, or change opinions just because the post-credit scene was so awesome. But I mean, what can I say? So final thoughts, I really thought the film was enjoyable. It was a good, solid time. I had a lot of fun with it. There's lots of fun to be had with this film, and you know, it's enjoyable. The action is great when you get to really get in there and watch them go toe to toe, Venom and Carnage. It really is a great time, and I'm really looking forward to a sequel. Honestly, I think that I'd love to see this trilogy close out. I think I'm really glad that they were able to make a second film, because sometimes with these types of films, you get the first film and they see that review bombed and they don't make a second one. But luckily, it did really well at the box office, the first film, and it came back for a sequel, and they're likely going to do a third one. And I'm really looking forward to it. Now, it wasn't a perfect film, but it's definitely worth a watch. And if you're not looking forward to Venom, Let There Be Carnage whatsoever, you should at least watch for the post-credit scene, because it's definitely worth it. So yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are wondering what I rate the film, I would rate it about a B-, C+. I haven't really decided. I feel like a lot of people take C+ as really extreme and think like, oh, it's a bad movie then. It's definitely not a bad movie. It's a very enjoyable movie. If I'm scaling it with like Godzilla vs. Kong in terms of like that type of movie, that big blockbuster, I would say it's like on a lower bracket than that. It's like it's not as much fun as I had with that movie, but still enjoyable, still a lot of fun. And if you guys are looking to get out, you guys want to watch a movie, you guys want to have a good time, Venom Let There Be Carnage is coming out on October 1st. So that's something to do there. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. It would be greatly appreciated. And if you didn't enjoy the video, feel free to drop a dislike. It's good to know. Yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and take care. Have a great day.